Welcome to episode 141 of Both Down, the number one Blood Bowl podcast.
From Bethlehem.
Georgia?
Bethlehem, Israel, I guess, right?
Um, yeah. I guess that's probably where it is now.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know,
I'll take
the
it.
birthplace of Christmas,
Okay. Yeah.
for white people.
Yeah. Wow. I, I don't even know. Okay. I'm not going to unpack that. I'm just going to let that go. Scott is not racist. I don't really know what that was about, but we're just not going to unpack it. No, it's not even dawning on me that it's this close to Christmas.
By the time this comes out, it might be just under 2 weeks before Christmas.
God.
Yeah, everybody's out there doing the hustle and bustle, and getting Christmas gifts to go and be in debt by January. So,
I know all about debt. Yeah, I'm good at that.
well, you might as well just throw some Christmas gifts on there too.
That's stuff we can talk about next episode.
All right, all
So
right,
teaser.
all right.
But anyways, I am Steve, aka Kilowoggy. With me as
I'm
always
Scott Prime.
is Scott Prime. I was playing a new game and I tried to put in Kilowog for a name, and
Like a video game.
yeah, and it just
Okay.
wouldn't take it. Like I don't know
Why?
if it's the KIL, like kill, or kilo for drugs, or wog for racist, but I kind of regret the fact that I'm now Kilowoggy. Kilowoggy is better than Kilowog, I guess, because we've had the discussion before where wog's a racist term in England,
Hmm.
and
Okay. Yeah.
when I say it, it sounds like kill a wog, and I'm like, oh no, no, no.
Don't let that get out too much.
It's like,
Although suddenly one of your favorite characters will have a name change. His
eh,
real name was Darren, so we're just gonna call him Darren from now on.
call him Bolivax. I think he's from Bolivax 7.
Okay. There you go.
Can't remember. It's been a while. There was someone who, side tangent early, um, someone on TikTok, their father had gotten like 13,000 comics and didn't know what to do with them. So I was like, if you have any Green Lanterns, I might be interested. So sent me a listing of what Green Lanterns they had and a video of them and like the condition. And they were, older 60s stuff. That's really cool. I'm like, I don't have much of that. Maybe it'd be nice to buy those if I got them for a good price. The appraiser came out and said they're $1,000, but we'll take 750.
Well, there you
And
go.
I'm looking at it going, man, I wouldn't pay $200 for these. The condition they're in. So
Well,
I had to try to be like, look, I'm not trying to undercut you. I'm just telling you that your appraiser is not giving you good information. Because I even checked like sold eBay auctions because I thought
mm-hmm.
maybe I'm been out of the game so long I don't know, but no. Anyways, that's all I had to say about that.
I'm sorry you couldn't rip somebody off.
Wasn't trying to rip them off. I'd give
Come
him a.
on, Steve.
I would gladly take a good deal, yes,
Okay,
but I'm
since we're
also
on,
buying something unseen from someone who knows where.
that's fair.
It's not like I'm going to
So
pay
what?
top dollar.
So I promise we're going to talk about Blood Bowl at some point on the show. But
Maybe
since we're already on tangents and I'm teasing Steve, have you read any of your pulp shadow books that you bought from Chicago?
not at all, but
Okay, that is your goal over the next month,
oh, I will.
and I know you're going to have a little bit of downtime.
Yeah, yeah, I've got
So,
them ready to go. So
okay, fair, all fair.
no,
All right, Steve.
I am interested to see how they turn out. I'm sure I like them, but who knows? If not, I'll sell them.
All right.
Yes, Blood Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Have we
What do
played
you want
any?
to talk about?
Have we played any Blood Bowl lately?
Um, People should have been playing Dungeon Bowl, but like life has happened, and I thought by
Yeah.
now we would have said that we're, you know, 66% through our Dungeon Bowl season, and we haven't
No, I mean
really
it's been
played
hard with the
much.
holidays and stuff, and everything else.
Right. So
Oh,
we're, I mean, I'm not in a big hurry. Like we'll
right.
finish it when we finish it. But yeah, it's just, it hasn't been rolling at the pace I wanted to. And Surprisingly, I haven't played much board games either lately. The only thing that's been played is some, collectible card games like Dragon Ball and
Huh.
some One Piece and stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
because I run tournaments down at Wizards. So,
So,
um,
speaking of Dungeon Bowl, I wanted to, how I mentioned like the tile messed me up one
mhm.
time, and Drew even mentioned it on Three Die Block when I was listening to him. Shout out to, and I'm going to get this name wrong, so give me a second to even contemplate how I'm going to say it to get it wrong. Um, I'll go with Call Kilpainen, Callie Kilpainen. Could it
let's
begin?
just call let's
I don't
just
know.
call him Darren.
Oh, Darren wrote in with that name. I'm assuming from Sweden, and um, actually he messaged me on or us on Facebook, and he's like, "I've got this really cool 3D printed connector that holds the tiles together," and he sent us the STL for 3D printing. And Drew brought himself a 3D printer, so he made some. He's gonna bring them up next time.
Hmm,
So it's
that's
like a
really cool.
little L thing that you put the tiles in, and it keeps them from moving around.
Very neat.
Yeah, and I apologize about totally screwing up your name.
So we did play some Blood Bowls since our
Yeah,
last podcast because we were going to talk about Nuffleween. Oh
that's
no, we
true.
didn't.
No,
Actually, we played Nuffleween back
right.
then, and we didn't talk about it.
Yeah,
So
it's been yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that's okay. I was admittedly a little bit ready for a Blood Bowl break. I know there's other people that play this 3 times a night on their digital device, and
Oh
then
yeah.
every weekend and everything. But I was ready for a little break, but I was ready to play some board games in the stead of not playing Blood Bowl. So,
Yeah.
anyways, let's
Oh,
talk.
we did miss something on our almanac review that
Oh,
other
what was that?
people have caught out or caught onto. A couple of new star players teased in it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why that wasn't talked about at a later date.
Right, maybe sometime in January. Yeah.
Whatever,
If
whenever I can.
dude, if we really wanted to tease these people, like you guys have no clue what we got. And it's not like it's going to blow your mind like, "Oh my god, they got a new box set and it's going to come out." No, it's
No,
not that. It's
no, it's not
it's
even anything.
it's really not like I'm not trying to blow it out of proportion. It's just whenever we do talk about it, it'll be very interesting about the whole process. But yeah, I
I
just
haven't even
just
I
wanted
haven't
to
even
tease
looked at
people.
that yet. So, anyways, let's talk about. Let's go back in time. Let's jump in our
Diddly-doo,
time
diddly-doo,
machines.
diddly-doo, diddly-doo.
Let's go back to October, right, for Kansas City, and then let's go back to November for some Nuffleween. How about that?
Tournaments of Christmas past.
Hey, see, it's kind of themey. And then we can talk about tournaments of Christmas future, and then we can talk about tournaments of Christmas present.
Yeah, there's not one right now, but that's
Okay,
okay.
that segment is done.
We did the Dickens out of that. That was a horrible pun.
Oh,
I
all right.
reached. Okay, well we're ended here, and we'll come back with the first segment, which I'm assuming is the U.S. Open.
Yay.
Okay, first up, Scott's going to regale us about his and Jen's trip to the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I realized like I should have dug way back into Facebook because that I posted like every place we went to two
Yeah,
months ago.
man,
Uh,
that stupid. You went to one game shop, and they had some amazing board games on the shelf. And
oh, those older board games.
yes, and they had a Get Smart game, which I've wanted since I was a kid, but it's stupid expensive. And I even messaged that place, and they never got back with me. They're like, "Oh, we're
Uh,
out of town. We'll get back with you." And I'm like, "Well, I'll just wait until after Christmas or whenever when I have money."
I mean, we can always just we don't need much of excuse. I mean, it's not that far away that we could drive up there. I guess if we wanted to.
It's a little far for just a board game.
I mean,
Although they did have like depends on the prices. Like they had some good board games.
yeah. So Kansas City, me and Jennifer originally, I don't know at what point we knew you weren't coming for sure, but either way, it was supposed to be. Ended up being with me, Jennifer, going up early. We left on a Thursday morning because we just wanted to get out of the state and away from kids and jobs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just have, an evening to ourselves, like a date evening and just us together.
Yeah, spend some
So,
quality time together.
yeah, that's right. So we left early Thursday morning. We were going to go up to Kansas City, stay the night in Kansas City, and then the next day meet Michael Lewis and Gary Brown. And possibly at this time you were still like, just by some miracle I can get off work. I might come, but I doubt it. So we're holding out hope for hope that you could,
Yeah.
get up there. We leave Thursday morning. We hit like we always do. We went up through Wichita, Kansas. We hit a cool place called Hero Havens Toys, Comics, and Collectibles. It had a little bit of everything from my and your youth, even Jennifer's youth. They had pops, action figures, old things. They had a giant GI Joe coloring book that when we stopped by the second time, I was going to try to see how much it was, and I forgot to even ask them. So, not that I would do anything with it. It's just cool because I've
No, it
never
was
seen
cool.
it.
Yeah.
We spent quite a bit of time there. We had a lot of fun. Then we drove on up to Kansas City. We got to Kansas City. We decided to, let's see, was it the next day? I guess it was the next day because we got to Kansas City. We ate and we got really adventurous. We stayed in the hotel and we watched Avengers on like sci-fi or whatever channel had it on, and just relaxed and did what adults do when they are alone and just relaxed some more, and
No,
it was great. It
you did
was
what parents do when parents are away from kids,
exactly.
which is
Um,
nothing, and then fall asleep watching a crappy movie.
yes, like I was like, God, we watched this with all the commercials on, and she was like, yeah, but it was fun. So I was like, okay, you're right. So we did that like old people.
Mm-hmm.
The next day we got up, we had some kolache factory. We went to several little stores. One of the ones that stood out was Back in Time Comics and Toys. And this is the one I believe. This one, the the Hero Haven. I was like, this is awesome. Back in Time's Comics and Toys for toy wise, especially if you go through like really hardcore my youth,
Yeah.
was amazing. Now they knew what they had, so they were like, if you really want this, you're gonna pay some money for it. And there was like no bargaining that I could tell. But
Yeah.
they had these old erasers that were like molded into like robots or monsters that when I was a child, the school store sold them
Mm-hmm.
and we'd buy them and play with them until we tear them up by accident. And then
Well, those are the orange ones
they're like
or
orange,
green.
blue, and
Okay.
green.
Yeah.
Yes, and then they also sold them. I remember like at Targets when I was a kid in the party section, they had these same little like creatures that you could buy for like little party favors.
Mm-hmm.
I was never the kid that got party favors for people to come over to my party, but I always wanted them. And then occasionally, if I had money, I would buy them and play with them until I tore them up too, because they were just erasers. But you try to move them and stuff,
Yeah.
and eventually they would tear up. They had some of those, and I almost bought them, but I didn't really want to pay like $15 for something I would do nothing with. But they had
Man,
old,
those
old everything.
those book fairs back in the day were the best times. Like I found my old Garfield pencil box, and it's still
Hmm.
in good condition. I was just like, I'm curious, on eBay what it goes for. It's like $15. But I found like four or five other same type, just different stickers. And
Hmm.
then someone had a lot of pencils because it came up in the search, and someone had Thundercats pencils from like back in the day. And I'm
Wow.
like, I need to stop looking right now because
Yeah, because
I want fucking.
yeah, nostalgia wise, you want it all. Like
Oh yeah,
if you go to my Facebook on October 28th, you're gonna see like 40 pictures of just stuff I took pictures of, like
yeah.
18 figures, Micronauts, Mad Balls, still in package. They wanted like $75 for those, but still, they just had everything at this
So
place.
that's a.
Uh,
So this is
that's
a
where you
weird.
find your old board games. That's
Yeah,
where, like I said, there was Tron figures, Transformers, GI Joe. It was incredible.
I think they had black hole figures too, which is one of the ones I
Yes.
want eventually. So this brings up an interesting question, not Blood Bowl related, but whatever. You can get one toy item of your choice from any line from your childhood at any price. What would it be? Because I
Any
think,
toy?
like, for me, my go to answer has always been R5D4 on a Star Wars back. Like, not Empire, not Return, but the true Star Wars R5D4. He was my favorite droid growing up. I kept him forever. Um, I
Hmm.
think that would be my thing. Second to that would be like the LJN Junkyard Dog on in package. Now they're both stupidly crazy, and I'm not going to get them. But what is that? Do you have like one thing that you could point to that you'd really want if you could?
Ah, man, I don't.
I know there's a lot. That's what I was kind of trying to, you know, figure out was like if there's one thing that really sticks out.
Not that, not that we're sitting here talking about it,
Right.
but I'm sure I could. There's just so many cool things that I would want, but
And of course, I mean, realistically, most of us would go with the flag. Like the
yes, I mean
flag in a box.
that's the first thing I thought of when you said this
Hmm.
was the flag or even the GI Joe headquarters. It probably would be some GI Joe item if I was just being like super honest about it
Yeah, and I
because
totally get that because like money wise, but size wise, like, eesh. I I I miss my GI Joe stuff more than I miss anything else.
yeah. Um I really this is stupid. There was some Madball action figures that came out late.
Yeah.
They were like they had little bodies to put the Mad Balls on there. I if I found one of those for like $10 to $20 in package, I would probably buy it.
Huh.
Those Muscle Man figures, if I found some of those on card that were
Oh
not
yeah.
ridiculously expensive, I might stupidly buy those and just keep them on card. But
Okay. I was
I
just
don't know.
curious.
There's just so many little things that really being at this store. What I realized is I had a lot more growing up. If you told me like what toys did you have, and I'd say, well, I had Star Wars until I had GI Joe, and then I went to this store and I realized like I had a lot of toys. I was pretty spoiled, I guess, way
Yeah.
more than I thought.
You
And
never think about it until you start looking back.
yeah, I had quite a few like Micronauts that I didn't realize I had that were really awesome. And I was like, oh, I had this, and then I thought I had more actual Transformers, but I had a crap ton of GoBots too.
Hmm.
So,
Well, they were
oh well,
cheaper, and that's what your relatives would get you when they're like,
that's
"Oh, he likes
that's probably true.
robots. Well, we'll get him this cheap one. He won't know the difference."
Right. Anyways, if you're looking for an old toy, back in time, comics and toys, it was actually in Liberty, Missouri. It was like northeast of Kansas City. It took us a drive to get up there, but
Okay.
we had a good time and we wanted to spend a lot of money, but we ended up just buying a few comics here and there. And then we went down and we met Gary at the Airbnb, and it was on our way to Back in Time Comics that I was like, I haven't heard from Michael, and it's like noon, and so I messaged like I called him, and he answered the phone, and he gave us the bad news that too much stuff was going on at home.
Yeah.
Like I guess some kids didn't do a project that they were supposed to do, and this and that and this and that. He's like, yeah, I decided this morning I'm better off being dad and at home and getting everybody caught up on stuff. And I was like, okay, I totally get it. And he refused to not pay me like Michael Lewis would. He's like, I was like, well, you don't have to pay me. And he's like, no, I'm gonna pay you. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna tell you one last time, you do not have to pay me.
Yep.
He goes, I just need your PayPal. And I was like, okay. So I tried, but I appreciate it. That allowed me to splurge elsewhere.
Of course.
Um, we met Gary. I know we went and ate somewhere, but I don't remember. Oh, I do remember. We ate at I think it's called Oklahoma Joe's or St. Louis Joe's or some
No.
type of barbecue
Yeah.
place.
Should be.
It was
It was Oklahoma Joe's, but I think they have a St. Louis Joe's now.
we did not eat at the original. Gary felt like the original tastes better than this like other one, this more commercial
Mm-hmm.
one. The food was good. It was just pricey. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm not complaining about what I had. I would
I
complain more about the price than the food I got. How
I
about
think
that?
Michael Lewis and I went there on a trip to Kansas at one time, or I can't remember who. I think there was three of us. But anyways, it was not that great. I mean, it was fine, but it was expensive for what you got, which is typical
Sure.
barbecue, which you always want
Yes.
great barbecue, and it's just not great.
Well, I think we're spoiled that we have Butcher's Barbecue here.
No doubt.
Ever since having that, like no barbecue places lived up. So
Hmm.
that's down here in Wellston in Oklahoma.
You're
So
not wrong.
it we went back to the house. We just kind of hung out. We never really played any board games, and we talked about Blood Bowl as we're getting nervous and like I wonder how many teams are going to have Griff and this and that. So we just hung out, did our thing that night. Oh, we went to the store and got some snacks because I ended up buying like some Halloween cereal for Nuffleween in Kansas
Oh yeah.
and transported it down. If I cough all night today, that's because I'm feeling under the weather. So I hope I'm not getting super sick. So
Well,
I
they're
should have
used to
said
you
that.
coughing.
Well, yeah.
It has gotten better than it used to. I don't have to really cut them out anymore.
Well, I've been muting it today, so if you haven't heard too many, it's because I keep muting
Well, the
and
mute
coughing.
works.
Yeah. So we got some rest. We got the next morning. We hit our favorite place in the world, Kolache Factory. Me, Gary, and
Again.
Jen's favorite place. Oh yeah, of course. If we have the outlet, we're gonna eat there. So we ate there. We went to the hotel that it was hosted in. We parked. We got there. It's it's hard to. It's just huge. It's just this huge, huge, huge play area because I've never been to a Warhammer event before.
Yeah.
And you look one direction and it's tables as far as the eye can see, and you look another direction and it's tables as far as the eye can see. And you have Blood Bowl players that have their like tiny little box of miniatures, and then you have other guys wheeling in like crates and stuff of their armies. Um, we all kind of got started. I guess that there was events on Friday because we obviously there was a sevens tournament. We did not go to that. It was just like a meet and greet. I think either Bradwell's won it or got first or second or third. So he did really well, and he goes, "Of course, there was no awards for something I did really well in," and and I don't even know if it counted towards the NAF or anything.
Oh, I'm
So
sure it will. But yeah, that does suck.
he just laughed about that. Like I did really good. They said he might have got first. I cannot remember, but there was about half the crowd. I knew who they were, and the other half I was like, I've seen some of these guys, and then there was a few people that I know I never seen before. I believe we started the event with I want to say 32, 34, 36. I cannot remember. This is only 2 months later.
Yeah, only.
I think we had 40 people pay and only 38, 36 show up for day one or
Okay.
something like that. GW gave us a field, as some people saw. They were like they looked just like the ones that you would buy the cardboard of, just printed off on some material.
They
Um,
are they are nice because they were quote unquote free. And I appreciate GW's effort, but man, when you've sent me that first photo, I thought it was a joke
No,
because I saw the picture as a preview, like this is what it's supposed to look like. I'm like, okay, cool. They just had the pitch and then the sidelines, and then they put it on a background and just to show off the pitch and the sidelines. Obviously, it'll be three separate pieces. No, no, no. It's
no,
all one
they were,
giant thing, which is
yeah,
weird.
yeah, it was one big giant like square thing. So it was awkward. There was a Norse pitch, there was a Lizardman pitch, there was a Necro pitch,
And a
and there
halfling.
was the Halfling pitch.
Which, again, if people don't realize, they made maybe 60 of these, if I remember correctly. Um, so
Well, the
there is a
well the
max
cutoff wasn't the cutoff
60.
64?
Maybe. So at most, there are 16 of each one of these pitches in existence. So
Yes,
this
I believe that
is,
is correct.
just to hype it up, these are the least produced Blood Bowl GW official items ever released, to my knowledge. Like there's other things that have, leaked out, or Resurrection Gutter Runner they put out to tournaments or stuff, but I don't know. There's only 16 of each one. It's cool. I don't know that anyone cares, but it's cool.
Yeah, so we used them to play on. Me, Jen, and Gary got a different field. We did some trading and stuff to make sure we got different fields. And then when he opened it up to buy extras, that's where I emailed the friends and saying like, if anybody wants one, you better let me know now. And
Hmm.
Drew bought a few extra, and we ended up buying one extra so we'd have all four between the three of us. So round one started. We had odd man out. Or we had odd people, I should say. And at this point, this is where this is the difference between Blood Bowl ran by the community and Blood Bowl ran by GW. Um, I guess it's custom in Warhammer events that if you get the buy, you're kind of happy. It's a free win, and you have some time off to go do some other things. And it means the same as if you played somebody. Whereas in Blood Bowl, we have so many other goofy awards like most casualties. We have, most touchdowns, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, with heavy encouragement, we talked Jim into playing. I realize now maybe that was an error on our part because Jim was also getting paid by GW, and he didn't want to look like he was getting to goof off.
Yeah.
He wanted to look like he was working, and at their disposal if they needed him to go move a table or do anything, he wanted to be around for that. But
That makes sense.
he was only going to play round one and drop. uh, I would probably say that I was part of the committee of kind of bullying him to play until somebody dropped because they decided that they were giving out four trophies, and it was going to be first, second, most casualties, and most touchdowns.
Yeah.
Because we had four trophies to, and Jim got to decide where they
And I,
went.
I feel kind of bad because I did plan on being the odd man out. I wasn't able to make it.
Well, I mean that happens. Um, so after two rounds, well, I should first say I should go over my matchups. Round one, I played a gentleman I cannot remember his name. He goes by Chubby Fat Kid. He had a Norse team. I
Is
believe
that
he
his
had the
NAF name, or is that just what he goes by?
no, that's his NAF
Hey,
name
chubby
is
fat
Chubby
kid,
Fat
get
Kid.
over here.
I'm sure he goes by it too, but I don't, I
Don't
don't
we
know.
all?
He was not, at least to me, I don't remember him being a chubby fat guy at all. But he was tall, but not fat. But
Okay.
anyways, he had Norse team. He had what's the star player troll that is like pointing at you?
Uh, skulls. Up.
Yeah, that's
That
good,
guy.
Steve.
Mm-hmm.
You know your stuff well. Anyways, he
Yeah.
had that star player. Um, I don't. I honestly don't remember many details of this game. I'm sorry, folks. I ended up. I took Old World Alliance. I had Deep Root on my team. Did we even talk about my rosters in the past? Should I go over that real
I don't know.
quick?
It's been months.
It really has been months, man.
Yeah, we'll get on a better schedule in the future, guys. We promise. But man, it has been
No,
no
I think
time.
we had to talk about Dungeon Bowl last month. It was
Yeah,
very topical. He,
Skorg Snowpelt.
okay, there you go. I took Deeproot as my star player. I took this is Old World Alliance. I tried to mitigate this many, not have many loners on my team because I didn't want them to eat up my rerolls. I had one thrower with block and leader. I had a blitzer with tackle. I had a catcher with sneaky get dirty player. I then had five linemen. One had wrestle, one had block. I had an old world troll slayer with naked just like he came.
He's
I had
naked.
an old old world blitzer with guard, and then I had another tree man with pro. So that was my team. Two rerolls. Here we go. More old world alliance, so I could finish off and play every team that's currently out there. I don't remember much about this game. Obviously, I must have started getting some casualties at some point, to win 2-0. Um, so there you go. I believe Deeproot right from the get go in this game started smashing some faces pretty hard, and then the rest is history.
That always
But
helps.
2-0, I don't remember scoring on the last play, so this might not be one of those 2-0 close games, or it could be. I can't remember. 2-0. I won. I beat Norse, so I was happy. Second game, I played Brad Wells from Houston, Shambling Undead and Old World Alliance. This is a game kind of just went back and forth. We were really, really close to time. I scored. We did not finish all our turns.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, I think we only got to like turn 6 of the second half, but I ended up winning 1-0 as time got called. We took a lunch break. We trying to remember if we did anything
I
for
think you
lunch.
just got a hamburger from there or something, or
We
a
did.
sandwich.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
Wow, you're making me remember stuff, and you weren't there. We did. We went to the bar there, and we ordered a hamburger. We all got the same thing. We got some pub burger, hamburger thing with cheese, fries, drink. Gobbled it down. It wasn't too bad, and I mean it was like I want to say it was like 15, $18, but they did have at this place. So at the event, they had like box lunches, like wraps, chips, and a cookie, and I think those were $12 or $15. And while it's high, it was still cool that they had like stuff like that there. They served drinks, they had snacks you could buy. That was all put on by the hotel. But what was funny is you could buy a Coke up there, and it was insanely expensive, or you could just take a walk and go down to the front desk at that hotel and buy a Coke for like $2. So it just depended how lazy you were. Um, After that, during this time, Jennifer's first two games, she was not having fun. She diced herself, and I think played maybe a newer player, so she wasn't getting the experience of like getting all her turns in or something like that. She was just getting frustrated, and when she self admitted, when you don't play a lot of Blood Bowl going into a Blood Bowl tournament, you're probably not going to have that much fun.
Yeah.
So, she was coming along just to come along anyways, and she at the time wanted to play Blood Bowl, but after a couple of games, she's like, you know what? I might go ahead and drop because then Jim can drop and not feel guilty, and you know, I can do other things. And I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, heck yeah, I can go, watch the OU game. I'll be fine. And I said, okay. So she went and told Jim, like, if you have another odd man problem going forward, I'll be the odd man out. But
Yeah.
for right now, I'm out until you have an odd man problem. And he said, okay, and so I think he felt a little relaxed because he could just run the tournament and be a worker. And Jen was more than fine with this.
That's good.
Matter of fact, I even checked on her between rounds, and she's like, "Oh, I'm great. I'm great now. I'm not playing Blood Bowl." I'm like, "Okay,
She loves it
uh,
so much.
yeah." Round. 3. So my biggest fear at this tournament was to, who's going to run into Griff, Morg, or whoever, right?
Yeah.
And there was two Griffs that I know of at the tournament, and I ran into Gary, who had one of the Griffs. We played round 3. If you've, I'm sure I talked about in the past, me and Gary play tested so much. I say so much. 4 or 5 games, three, 4 or 5.
Which is a
I
lot
can't
to us.
remember. It's a lot for us. We play tested, and every time, like either the best like Gary could do is pull off a tie, or because I would either do something ridiculous to tackle him, or I would pull off something ridiculous and score. And so it was like frustrating. And I knew going into this game, and he's going to listen to this and probably kill me. In one of the playtest games, he left Griff in distance of Deep Root, and I took a chance and went after him with Deep Root and did the go for it, and I crushed his Griff and hurt him. And I thought that might come into play in this game, him being just a little bit not standoffish, but like protecting Griff.
Hmm.
Because honestly, with his human team, Griff is the linchpin of everything. So I purposely tried to like have that in the back of his head, like, please don't get close with Griff. Please don't go in there and jump in a cage because you could get hurt. you know, um, a really, really, really tight game. I in the second half end up scoring and I win another game 1-0. But tight matchup. Frustrating probably from Gary's point of view because we play tested, he knew what was coming, and things just happened to work out. Even when like I would have that bad turn, and he could jump on me, he would follow it up with a bad turn, and so that I get that. I've had those plenty of times of like, oh, this is the break I needed. Oh, I just shit the bed,
Yeah.
you know. So I won. So I'm 3-0 at this point. Pretty happy with the result. I was like, if I could I really wanted to get 4 wins because I felt like with having Deep Root, with my own ability, I thought it was actually fair to say that I could go 4-2 at this tournament. So I was pretty happy. I'm 3-0. Surely I can win one more game over the next 3. Um, round 4, I got to play Rory Donovan from was it Utah
I
area
believe so. Or Washington. He came down
somewhere in
for
that area.
Oklahoma one time. I should
Yeah,
know, but I don't.
yeah. He's a good coach, and he had corn. And I tell you what, he had a quarantine that was like this orange and brown colors. They were beautiful painted. They were beautiful painted models. I assume he painted them himself. Um, I don't really remember a ton of details in this game. I do know the whole first half, he kicked the ever living crap out of me. And just everything he did was right and everything I did was wrong, and he just kicked the crap out of me. And I believe no, it wasn't this game. It was, I believe, the next game. I could be wrong on this. It's either this game or my 5th game where I learned that pro was 3 and up,
Hmm.
not 4 and up like it used to be.
No, it's actually much better now. I mean, it's only one die, but
So I don't I really think I learned this in the 5th game, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But anyways, I get every time Jim came by, my dice would go and just I'd roll one, re-roll one, stuff like that, double skulls. And Jim, it's like I'm gonna stop coming by here because every time I do, Scott does something terrible. And Rory said at one point, he goes, "Man, I'm starting to feel bad for you." And I said, "Well, I said you shouldn't feel bad for me." And he goes, "Well, I do this thing where I start feeling bad for people, and then I let up." And I said, "Roy, I said, don't let up on me. I said I might be mad as hell, but I'm gonna keep fighting."
yeah, of course.
And I said, "And if you let up, I might have a chance to come back and tie you." And he goes, "Okay, I just feel bad." And I was like, "Well," I said, "I would not let up on you if I could. So don't let up on me. Just keep kicking me in the face."
Hmm.
you know. And we laughed and giggled about that. 2-0 at halftime. Well, the second half, I grind, start hurting some people, grind, grinds, finally score. Um, he gets the ball back. I all I know is at some point because he had what's the fast Skaven with two heads?
Skitter?
I'm,
No.
no, not that one. God, I am like an old man who doesn't know my star players.
Hackflem?
No, the other one,
I don't know. It's a Skaven star
dude.
player. How often do I take Skaven star players?
Oh gosh, everybody at home is like yelling at us that like you played this game for
I
30 years and you don't know who it is. Hackflim.
said
He had hack.
Hackflem.
Did you say Hackflim? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
You said Skitter.
And then I said Hackflem.
Okay, I didn't hear
Okay.
you. Anyways,
Well,
at
I'm
some
right.
point, Hackflim I think dodges and rolls a one, reroll one, and I get him off the field because he gets casualties himself, which is amazing. And just like that spot I needed. Um, the long and short of it is I had Rory down to I think 4 or 5 players, and then I had like 2 turns to pick up the ball and either hand off or pick up the ball and run in, and I kept dropping the ball. I couldn't pick it up
Jeez.
until turn 8, which I finally picked up the ball, finally handed it off, finally caught the ball, and then I think I'm not sure. I might have had to do a go for it. I might not have, but it was really dramatic since I had 0 rerolls at that point, and I tied the game. I was very happy. It felt like a win, even though it was a tie, and I'm sure it was frustrating on Rory's end because at one point I don't know if he was joking or not, and I don't think he was because he has a different sense of humor. But I was like, man, I was kind of hoping to give you a game, and this is there in the first half, and he goes, "Oh, I thought I would beat you pretty good or something like that." And I was just like, okay, I don't know how to take that, but anyways, I came back, tied it up. So day one, I had 3 wins and 1 tie, which was pretty darn happy about that. So
Yeah.
that night we went back home. During the day though, I between rounds I would walk around and I tried to do my best to take pictures of like the Warhammer Fantasy stuff that was going on, or Age of Sigmar is what it's called now, and then some 40K stuff. And good lord, those guys, not only do they have like thousands of dollars worth of models, some of those painters are just unreal,
Yeah.
man.
No, it's crazy.
It's just unreal. It was really cool though because there's not a big female contingent in Blood Bowl, and same thing with those other games. But there was some ladies there that were every bit of my age or older,
Hmm.
playing Age of Sigmar, playing 40K, and I just thought that was awesome. Not only did you see some young people playing it, but some older people and some older females, which I just thought was really cool.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say we don't see a whole lot of 40k players around here, at least
we
not at
don't.
Wizards. And they typically do tend to be, I mean, again, very limited selection. Just annoying old white guys.
Yeah, we're college kids.
The annoying college kids. Yeah, that's true.
Let's see. We drove home. We went ahead and we stopped at Hawaiian Brothers and got some food. Gary's never ate there, so we ate there. We enjoyed our food. We went back to the hotel or Airbnb. We went to bed because we were tired. 4 games of Blood Bowl are starting to get more and more tiring as the older I get.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. The next morning we got up. We we ate at some other place, maybe called the Watch, the Night
Oh, the
Watch,
watch is good. First watch.
First Watch.
Yeah.
Um, I was not impressed with that
Really?
place.
Yeah, Michael and I went to that place. Didn't find out it was a chain until much later. We thought it was a local place.
It could have been what I got, and
What'd you get?
it's. I got eggs Benedict.
Ah, okay.
I mean, I just don't know. It was like everything was like, oh, this is fresh, blah blah blah. This is hand grown, blah blah blah.
No, it's a hipster place for sure. But we got the
Uh,
chocolate chip cookie, chocolate chip pancake, and it was amazing.
Well, I really think it was what I ordered because Jen and Gary got like some lemon cheesecake pancake thing or something.
Hmm.
Their food was pretty good. So
That's good.
I didn't hate it, but if you give me that in Kolache Factory, my fat ass is going to Kolache Factory because I know what I'm getting and I know I really like it.
Yeah.
So, but I get, if you said you love that place, that I can't really fault you for that.
And
Our
again,
service was not so great either, so maybe that didn't help.
that never helps, that for sure.
I think the kid was just like overwhelmed with the few tables he had. I
Yeah.
don't really think they were that busy. It was just I think he was getting used to working. um, we get to the hotel to play our next couple games of Blood Bowl. I play against, oh gosh, she's gonna kill me. I played against Nancy, Pox and Ladder, Pox and Later,
Box
Pox
lighter,
and Hose, Pox Slider. That's it. Um, they they were from I want to say
Jersey.
the huh?
Jersey?
No, I want to say the West Virginia area,
West Virginia? Okay.
Virginia,
That's right.
wherever, like Nate Beam's area,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, in that kind of ballpark. They were at Chaos Cup because I recognized them.
Hmm.
She had a human team. No, that's not fair. She had a Norse team, and she says she normally plays. I think with that guy that they called Griff Light, whatever his name is, the guy with guard
I,
and block.
I don't know.
I know you don't. I'm looking it up. Hold on. We're the worst Blood Bowl people ever.
Hmm.
You're
We are.
still listening. It's only because you love us. You can't be because the content
It's
is
not for quality.
so. I think she said she often plays with Ivar Eriksson,
Oh,
the
the new
block
Norse
guard
guy. I
loner
gotcha.
tackle rating party guy.
Yeah.
But
I'll be
she
taking him
had
to World
Griff.
Cup, I think.
Yeah, she had Griff. So I got to play the other Griff at the tournament. Now I'm not sure at this point if there was only two Griffs or not, but I at least ran into two Griffs. Um, I do remember details of this game because this game still kind of haunts me on a few things.
He had to
Um,
play a girl.
no, it wasn't that, and that girl was a good player. So uh,
She's a woman, sir.
I'm sorry, that woman was a good player too. You can tell she plays with Norse, and she was used to them.
Yeah.
Um, the game was fairly. I don't want to say back and forth. I wanted the ball first so I could just start punching some dudes down.
Yeah, of
She
course.
won the kickoff roll and she was very happy. Um, I cornered. I just remember this. At one point, I kind of cornered her, and I was thinking like Griff is gonna have to do just a lot of dodges, which is very possible
Yeah.
because he has his own built-in reroll. He has dodge, but like I had him kind of crumpled up on the sidelines, and I thought that was the only direction she was going to go, and instead she cuts the field and goes crossways, and I felt like, I mean, you can't say you leave Griff wide open because he's still Griff. He has four strength. He's a block dodger, and so she moved him out, and there wasn't a full cage around him at all. So therefore, I had bodies to get to him because once she was done moving, I was like, okay, here's my chance. I can go try to tackle Griff. All I got to do is I have my tackle piece. All I have to do is, I have a 33% chance of knocking him down. Um, if I remember correctly, I rolled both down and push, re-rolled it both down push, which was very frustrating. So eventually, she scored. It was 1-0. I had several opportunities to hit Griff in this entire game, and I believe the results were always both down push every single time.
Jeez.
And I mean, I had at least 8 times that I could hit Griff and just kind of knock him down. The second half, though, went way better for me. I started just caging and crawling really slow, started peeling people off the pitch, and Nancy did something I was not planning on her to do. I mean, it was the right move. She was down to not many people, and she she said, "Well, this is probably stupid, but it's now or never. Otherwise, you're just going to keep crushing me, and we're going to tie 1-1."
Yeah.
She leaps Griffin into the cage. She makes all her rolls, and I mean, she wasn't making them on like threes and needs a reroll to do this. It was like 6, 5, 6, you know, double pals, all these things. She leaps Griff right in. She knocks the ball carrier down. The ball squirts out. Griff goes out, picks up the ball, does his dodge. Again, like I said, I get more hits on Griff. Can't ever hit him. Um, Getting in front of him though, because like I'll get another shot at Griff. Had another shot at Griff. Couldn't do nothing about it. Griff, scampers away, and some people are going to say this maybe it was a mistake, and I don't necessarily think it was. But if I guess I would have tied the game, she might have thought it was a mistake too. She decided to go for it, an extra space, and if she did, the best I could do is put a tackle zone on Griff.
Yeah.
I can't hit him. Nothing. Um, she rolls a 1. Sure feet rolls a 1. Still not a bad move because I can't get to the ball. The best I can do is if the ball bounces backwards is the only way I can pick up the ball. And it's like turn 7. Um, the ball bounces backwards. So I have a guy that goes down the field, goes for it twice, rushes twice, picks up the ball. I throw the long bomb. Nancy has one character in the way. Of course, she rolls a 6.
Hmm. So annoying.
It's the most frustrating thing. I mean, even she will tell you she rolled really good when she needed to.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she didn't. I could be wrong on this. I think she had all her rerolls the second half, but I could be wrong on that. So deflected it. That's okay. I still gonna have another chance. Well, my thrower is a moron and he can't pick up the ball. I roll 1, reroll 1. Long story short, I lose the game 1-0. I had a bunch of casualties. That's just what happens. So play testing against Griff, I'm like 50-50 now in real life. Um, but to her credit, she was right on. I think she was right on the move of busting Griff in the cage and just going for it because I really was like just gonna, you know, crowd up even more and make it even harder for Griff.
Look, it
And so
to me it always we've mentioned this before. You get to a point where do you want to win or are you just playing for a tie?
right,
I don't play for a tie. If I'm on the last table, if it's, whatever, maybe I'll play for a tie because I don't want to get another loss. But for that, well, and again, at that tournament, maybe a tie would be beneficial more than a loss because there's so many games and so few people.
right. I mean,
But yeah,
I
I
just think
always go for the
I
win.
think I think she knew that even if she fails it, it's still going to be a tie because I'm not going to score on turn 6 and give her 2 turns with Griff. She knows this. Um, she was just more aggressive with Griff than my play testing with maybe Gary went. So I was just hoping that she wouldn't get aggressive with him, and she did.
Yeah.
And it worked out for her. So I mean, Griff looked like $1,000,000 in this game because he just did everything. He wouldn't go down, even though I really do think I had 8 shots on Griff and I could not knock him down. And it was so infuriating because if you would have told me I got 8 shots on Griff, surely at some point I would have knocked him down.
Yeah.
But I didn't, never did. So it never came up. 1-0. I think I do not know her record at this point. I think she's 4 wins and a tie at this point, but I really don't know what her record is. Um, so we go into the last round. There's one guy I did not want to play, and I could get this wrong, so I'm very sorry. Let me see what his name is, so I can get the correct NAF name here on this before I butcher anything else here. I played a guy whose NAF name was Charlie Sparrow. I believe he is a French guy that lives here in America. I think he's from France or something like that.
Most French people are.
Maybe he's from Washington or somewhere. He came down with somebody else, or he came down with the French guy. I don't remember. These two guys traveled from together, and they were from, I guess their roots are from a foreign country.
Okay.
I did not want to play him because I heard about the guy who knows how to plays very European like, and he knows the formula for a one turn touchdown.
Is he really good on fumble too?
Maybe I don't know. I should look up Charlie Sparrow and see if he's over on Fumble.
I was gonna say that'd be
Um,
a rematch from your last time.
so I play him. Let's see. I'm trying to remember how this went. He gets the ball. He scores right off the bat. I mean, boom. It's no, I'm sorry. That's not true. I get the ball. I get the ball, and the first half was the weirdest half of Blood Bowl I've ever played, ever, maybe. He
Okay.
was very, very methodical about his placement, where he would be, how many people he'd let me get hits on him. He had a Skaven team that I think had 14 players on it because he wanted, even if I casualtied a bunch, he wanted to have players. He had a Rat Ogre, he had his Gutter Runners. I can't remember the skills and stuff that he had, but he had a hefty bench for sure, and I think three rerolls. So I knew I was just going to have to do my best to grind this out. Otherwise, he's going to score on me, and I can't, outrun him with Skaven. So I grind it, I grind it, I grind it in the first half. He acts like he's going to like at some point come at me because I think he wants me to spread out my troops or go crazy on trying to kill him and killing his gutter runners or his Skaven. So he only gives me one target per turn to kind of just pull me out. And he does it on where the tree men are, where the tree men would have to go for it or rush to hit the player. And I must admit, I thought if I could get his numbers down, I mean, it kind of worked because I would only move two squares up and I would make sure that hole is patched up in case the tree man fell, but I would take the chance and hit him. And luckily, I had fine dice this whole game pretty much, and so I get to crush a Skaven and didn't get the results I really wanted. I think I got a lot of KOs, which is still people off the pitch. Um, I scored at one point. He just slightly moves his players over, kind of like the Ole of go ahead and score.
Mm-hmm.
But he acted like he didn't put him too far down the field because he didn't want me to think like, oh, he's just giving me the Ole defense and letting me score.
Yeah.
I just sat there. At one point, he like moved one guy where I could just barely hit him if I wanted to, and he goes, "All right, pass the turn," and I was like, "Pass," and he goes, "You can see it go off in his head, like, crap." We had like I think three turns each of just passing
Those are such
because
fun times because you're just messing with each other.
right because he doesn't want to take a chance of getting his secret to his success because what he wants to do is being to kick off the ball. He scores the last play of the second half, and then he goes, he gets the ball back and he wins, 2-1 or whatever. But I score on my last play of the game or last play of the half after several turns of passing. He sets up. Um, I gotta admit, I'm talking to Drew and Tim Lyons. I'm like, guys, I can't remember what's the proper way to set up so you don't get scored on with a one turn touchdown because it's coming. It's coming as soon as this kickoff's over. And they were telling me stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. Then I had where I was going to place people was exactly what they were telling me. So I was like, actually proud of myself. I was like, wow. The problem was is once I set up, like he was like, oh, that's very good, and he's like, I got one chance at this. Well, the ball didn't go where he wanted to, but the clock went back a turn, which was super frustrating.
Yeah.
So then he makes this like pocket of players, and he brings his Skaven up, and it's going to be very difficult for me to stop him. Period. It was just going to be like a matter of just getting some bodies and tackle zones all around there. But the key was to hit this one guy, and even if I just got a pushback, I would be fine to bring in all the other players and kind of clump it up, and let's just see what happens with the dice. Except I rolled a one, reroll one on that one that blitz hit, and that was frustrating. And it should have been pretty much a walk-in score, except he had to do some go for it, some rushes. He rolled a one, reroll one, so I got away with being up 1-0 at halftime. And I thought to myself, well, at the very least, I can tie this game as long as I don't shit the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, he does. He does a one score touchdown. Uh, I'm sorry, he does not do a one turn touchdown. I set up the same way. That was frustrating him. He he scores in two plays. So I only had one play. I still have 7 plays to grind for the rest of the game. Well, so I wish I could show you this guy's setups. I took some pictures and I didn't post them or nothing, but I took pictures because I just some of the weirdest setups I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Uh,
but were they effective?
yes.
That's the thing.
um, I got the ball back. We played the same game, except this time he knows he's going to have to come after the ball because it's 1-1, and if I score on the last play, then I win the game, and he has to stop me at some point. But he's very, very, very careful on this. This time, I do not take these chances of doing the extra rush just to crush one of his guys. I just let it be that, like, at some point, he's going to have to crowd me, and he can't get every Skaven through, and then I'm going to get to hit back. And I'm not going to take those extra chances of a cage breaking down. And I just keep clumping my guys together. I will go out there, and instead of hitting with the tree man that, might have loner, I just go ahead and hit with like, a lineman with block or something like that. So I have the reroll in my back pocket if I need it.
Yeah.
And I was super proud of myself as a player because I was frustrating him. And I would do something and I go, pass. And he would look at the board and stare for a long, long time. And he go, oh, you a very good player. You're good. That made me feel so good. So if Charlie Sparrow's hearing this, you really made my day because it was just like a real chess match, so to speak. And eventually he had to start crowding me and giving me shots and trying to, maybe try to go after the ball. And it came down to like on the last turn, I had a re-roll, and all I had to do was really blitz off one guy, and then I could just go in and score. And he even saw it happen, and I won the game 2-1.
Good.
It was one of the weirdest games I've ever played in my life, and I was really, really happy to win. And more than anything, I had some guy that I think is probably a way better player than me telling me like, "Oh, you very good. You're very good, my friend." And that made me feel so good. So um, he ended up. So how the awards trickled out, after it was all over, I went over there and I was happy to get my 4 wins. So I was like, I met my goal: 4 wins, a tie, and a loss. That's pretty good with Old World Alliance. Um, Went over there. I gave my thing to Jim, and I said, I think we're gonna head out because Gary was gonna leave because he had a separate drive back. Me and Jen were gonna go back to the Airbnb that night and go out that morning.
Yeah.
But the awards ceremony wasn't for another like 2 hours because how they did this thing is they do all the awards at once, and they really set up shop like a giant presentation, and they go through Friday awards and Saturday
Ugh.
awards and the overall awards, and like there's some award thing that they do with their campaign. I guess it affects their campaign, like Evil won. So in the storyline, Evil's gonna have this is
Yeah.
gonna happen in the fluff for the
Yeah.
Warhammer
The
stuff.
narrative events. Yeah.
Yeah, narrative events. Thank you. So
I mean,
I
that
told
sounds
Jim, I was like, I
boring as
think we're
hell.
gonna. What's that?
I said that sounds boring as hell if you're not part of it.
Well, I told Jim, I said, I think we're gonna head out, and I said, unless you just really need us to stick around because I know you're trying to we want Blood Bowl to seem impressive because we're here. And I said, technically, me and Jen don't have to go back. And he goes, well, if you want your award now, you can take it. Just let me know. And I said, what do you mean award? He goes, you got second. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
So 6 rounds, only 30 some people. You don't have to win every game.
Well, and Nancy ended up winning her last game. I think she went 5 wins and a tie somewhere, I think. But again, well, hold on. Let me just see if I can find her little stats here. Well, I probably can't, but I'll find it here in a second. But I was just shocked that I got second. She played a guy who had an orc team that was doing really good, and he had like 6 rerolls. He like loaded up with all these crazy rerolls. Nancy went 6-0 actually for the tournament, so she had a good weekend. She went 2-1 in sevens as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so she had a great weekend. 8-1 overall for her Blood Bowl weekend.
Nice.
But yeah, Jim goes, yeah, you got second, and I was like, oh, really? And I was like, well, then we'll stick around. I said, I don't want somebody who's getting an award not be there when they present it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Because if we're trying to prove that like Blood Bowl's worthy of these bigger events and to be at these things, then I'll stick around. So we stayed around. We wasted some time, just hung out, looked on our phones, crap like that. Uh, Jennifer met some gal who helps run the events for Warhammer for GW. She's from Moore.
Oh,
I
wow.
can't remember her name, but those two gals started talking, and
Huh.
Jennifer like made this friend, and come to find out she lives in Moore just like we do, and she used to like help set up events for like NBA stuff, and I mean she doesn't care about any of the Warhammer stuff at all, really, but she helps set up the events and stuff.
She's
So
just
that
an
was
organizer.
yeah, she's like one of the hands that helps set up tables and gets people their
Huh.
badges and this and that.
Might be a good person to
she
know.
she's like, yeah, the difference between me and these other people is they'll turn around and go buy miniature stuff. She's like, I don't play any of the games, so I get to keep my money.
Yeah, but it seems,
Oh,
I don't know. I will say it seems weird that she would drive up because we know, what um, they typically pay a volunteer, I guess.
I don't.
It's
So
not much. So it seems
mm,
like it'd be a long way to go for not much if you don't care about the event. But who knows?
right. So other things I'd like to talk about real quick before the awards is that there was a GW store there. Obviously, they set up, they selling product.
All
It
for a
was the
regular price.
all of it was regular price. And I know this sounds like a weird comment, but like I didn't expect these things to be like $10 below price. I didn't expect them to be like $5 below price,
Well, you kind
but
of
I
did.
thought they might be, $3 or something. So you just go like, I was gonna buy this locally, but I just decided to go ahead and buy my army now.
Yeah. Like, I
You
would
know,
figure a 10% discount, buy it at the show. Don't have to ship it.
it was just,
Less stuff they have to take back.
yeah.
But, you know,
Um,
they want their dollar.
I did get to pick up some of those trolls that have both of their feet on the ground. I don't know what he's called, a train troll or something like that. Anyways, it's not the one that's throwing the little goblin on one foot. So I got some of those, and I said I wanted to get some of those when we went up there. But I guess I expected more Forge World stuff, and there might have been more Forge World stuff there on Friday. And since we weren't there,
Yeah.
maybe I missed out because believe it or not, there was a lot of people buying Blood Bowl items that were not playing in our tournament. So they were there for Warhammer, but maybe they had a league back at home, so they
Yeah.
picking up Warhammer stuff, or I mean Blood Bowl stuff. So I did spend some money at the stores. Um, we got our fields. They started breaking down tables. They set up a bunch of chairs, and they started putting this backdrop up and this big like projector screen thing for their PowerPoint thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then they started going through the awards and they went, oh, on Friday night we had this event, and they present the awards, and they said, this is how it works. You're going to come up here, you can get your award. You're going to stop for a quick picture, and then you're going to walk back to the treasure chest, and you have to the count of, I think he said 7 or 5, to grab something. and then go sit back down. And he's like, there's just miscellaneous stuff in there. So when it comes time for Blood Bowl, it was cool to see my name up there, but they spelled it wrong. I decided to go with my real last name, not Prime. And of course, they did not spell it Delsigne. They spelled it Delsione. So people wonder why I use a different name because nobody can spell the real name right.
Yeah.
This goes back to freaking junior high signing up at track meets and stuff. They never could get my name right. So um they finally did the Blood Bowl thing. So we got to, they said like this is the first year we're doing Blood Bowl tournaments here and let's call them all up. And so they called us all up. We took our pictures, one at a time we went back to the treasure chest. The treasure chest, I wish I would have used like all 5 or 7 seconds that I had because I didn't. The I was so panicked, like I just went look for Blood Bowl stuff because that's all you care about. And I was like, Nurgle team cards, no. Oh, Forge World miniature, I'll take this one. And it was Skorg, the troll guy from the Ice Troll star player.
That's still awesome. That's
So yes, I ended up getting this
super
cool.
expensive.
Yeah, I got this cool trophy. I got that miniature
And the pitch.
and the pitch. So
I
it
mean
was
that miniature and the pitch kind of pays off the event for you if you were to sell them.
correct. Yeah, we might talk about that later. I think we're probably going to sell them if somebody really, really needs them. So, um, overall, the event was fine. I'm trying to think of how I would grade it based on like if I went 2-2-2, because going 4-1-1, you look
Clouds
at
it.
it just
Yeah.
different, right? Um, Day two, there was some people. Well, even day one, there was like one guy there who refused to play even though he knew we had odd man numbers out. And I even told him I'm gonna make fun of you on the podcast. So I'm not gonna make a friend here if anybody hears this. But like his buddy was like, "Yeah, we're trying to get him to play." I was like, "Dude, did you already pay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've already paid. I don't feel like playing." It's like you drove all the way here. Just play. Just
Yeah.
play so Jim doesn't have to play. And he goes, "You're not gonna change my mind. My buddies didn't change my mind. I'm not playing." Which my brain just doesn't understand. Um So we had that, and then day two we had quite a few people drop. But it felt like a mechanical magic event because there wasn't extra awards like best defense, whatever else those other awards we have in Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Which
Stunty,
let's
anything.
yeah, let's be realistic. Really, we probably give away way too many awards.
Yeah.
But part of the reasoning is to encourage everybody to keep playing. And while it's a tournament, it also has kind of like almost like a 1 day league feel. Like so at the end of an NFL season, you have all these player awards. Well, we're doing the same thing at a Blood Bowl tournament. And the next on Sunday, I think we only had 22, 24 people playing because some people went out and drank because they had a bad first day.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, screw it. I don't even feel like playing today. So I'm just not going to. And that kind of puts a little killer on it. I know that happens at Chaos Cup too, but I think having some of those awards would have helped keep people around, maybe. But at the same time, GW doesn't care about those awards. So I got to really see firsthand the night and day difference between probably what a not a cutthroat scene, a serious tournament scene is like versus a casual community ran Blood Bowls event where there's 20 people and 10 awards go out. So it was
Yeah.
just different. It was very different, and it almost made me think of like maybe we shouldn't give so many awards, even
No.
though
I mean, look, people love awards. And I'll just put myself out there again. I still go to Chaos Cup and still never win anything. And trust me, I don't care what freaking award I get. I will be happy to win it. Like anything at this point, I will take it happily.
well,
Please.
I really left the event thinking like maybe we should just like sorry, you get the buy round, you get an automatic win and move on. But
No. God, no.
it's just also not that fun. So looking at Jim ran the event fine. It was to me, a very meat and potatoes event.
Yeah.
Jim gave us a patch that he paid for with his own money. I really wish that, and GW's not going to do this because they don't care, and they don't. To me, they don't have a super pulse on what the tournament scenes are like ran by the community. I would have loved, instead of getting fields, even, let's put it this way, getting the fields that we got were cool, but once you started to play on them, you realize like you can't read them very well.
They're
you
just
know,
the wrong size.
it's the same thing that we already purchased on our cardboard field. There's nothing really special. It's actually more bulky. If you would have told me everybody got a random pack of block dice and just a team dice set, and those are the dice you have to use all tournament,
Yeah.
I think I would have loved that. Just because, you always have the got to play with tournament dice. I'm a weird superstitious guy on that. It would have been actually cool if GW would have let Jim make up some dice for the event
Yeah, for
that said,
sure.
the Kansas City Carnage and stuff like that. But I know GW doesn't think that way, and they don't have to, because they don't have to.
They're not
They don't have
GW.
to.
They don't have to promote it. They don't
Yeah,
have to
they
make sure
they don't
people
have to.
enjoy it.
They don't have to swoon us to get us to come play, because they're like, no, we're GW. You want to come play here because we're GW.
They're the super hot chick.
Yes.
They don't have to put any effort into being interesting or fun or,
Well,
whatever. It's
yeah,
just they're
they
super
don't do the
hot.
extra stuff.
Yeah.
While your local comic store or game shop,
They're giving up
they're the,
anal every single time.
well, okay, you said it, so I didn't have to. So
I knew
yes,
where you were going. Come on. Everybody knew.
the trophies were really cool though. They were, they're. I'm gonna get in trouble for this. It's my second favorite trophy that I own. My
Okay.
second favorite trophy. My first one is still the Matador Melee guy. I love those trophies so
Yeah,
much.
they're
It's
awesome.
ridiculous. But it is. I was super happy to get it. Now I was really wanted first once we got to day two, but that just didn't happen. So I was really happy to be one of four guys to get a tournament trophy there. It was really neat. I think it was Dave Burrows got most casualties. He had cast dwarves, and then Charlie Sparrow, the guy who had the Skaven team, he got most touchdowns. So that's
Hmm.
how the awards trickled out for that. It was cool to go in front of everybody and have everybody clap, and I was shocked how many people were there at like 5:36 to do the award ceremony.
I mean, it's good.
Um, let's see what else. We left the event. We got some Arby's because we're really cool.
I
We got
don't care
Arby's
what
from
people
maybe
say.
the.
Arby's is awesome.
Mm, we went to a ghetto Arby's for sure. I don't think those people would have called 911 if we were on fire or breathing, because they didn't give a shit about us. But we got our food eventually, and we went back to the Airbnb. We just kind of vegged out. We ended up. You'd be proud of me. I watched like two movies of Mystery Science 3000, whatever, Mystery Science Theater 3000,
Yeah.
and then went to bed
Well, that's
and
cool.
got up and traveled back. And because I didn't spend too much money, I stopped at the Hall of Heroes place in Wichita again, because they had some awesome those bigger GI Joe figures that they're releasing, the
Yeah.
classified series. I really don't want to get into those, but like the little kid in me do. And they had Tomax and Zaymont,
Ooh.
the Crimson Twins,
Yeah.
and they also had a bat that I have been trying to track down that bat figure, but I didn't want to pay like $40 and stuff for it. They had those. I went ahead and bought all of those on the way back because I didn't spend all my money. And that is the Kansas City trip in a nutshell.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it sounds like
Jim did,
fun.
Jim did fine. I just wish Jim got to be Jim
Yeah.
and just let him run his event like he wanted to. I think
I guarantee he does too.
I know he does. I just wish GW would have trusted a Blood Bowl guy that they've already hired to be. I wish they would have just said, "We realize Blood Bowl's a little different. We're gonna let you have your flair, and then afterwards we'll judge if we want to continue to let you have your flair or
Mm-hmm.
not." So, but that again, that didn't happen. So,
Yeah. Again, it sounds like a fun event. I mean, the round length, the There's a lot of
The
things
route. Oh,
GW is just weird with.
I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, they did change the schedule. Originally, it was going to be 1 round lunch, 3 rounds. Jim finally got his way and did 2 rounds lunch, 2 rounds. So good.
Yeah.
Glad that they adapted that. The round length was 2 hours and 30 minutes, I guess, because they thought there might be some new people there. And what I learned at these events with 2 hours and 30 minutes is no matter if you have 2 hours or if you have 2 hours and 30 minutes, a lot of the same people are going to go to time in either one of those events because they know they can take
Yes.
longer.
Yes.
And the people who are going to finish in either one of those time periods is still going to finish because they will hurry up with their turns to try to get done with this stuff. So
I will always say that I think the way we do it's the best because that's why we do it. 2:15 for the first round, give or take a few minutes, let people set up. Then 2 hours after that to give them like a sense of, okay, this is 2 hours 15. You should have already been done. Now we're doing 2 hours. This is your proper length. Get it done.
correct, correct. Yes, I agree. I mean, we're biased because we
Of course.
we run events, but I am going to be glad not to play Old World Alliance for a while. So I got them off the list. I've now played all the races, and I don't have to play them for a while.
Good. Well, congratulations. And
I mean, they're beautifully painted, so I should want to play them all the time. But
yeah, but you
I did
don't.
like I did like this build better because I didn't mess with those dwarf linemen who are terrible. Because those guys, all they do is just suck down rerolls, and
Yeah. So
but oh well.
speaking of, I mean, we might as well get to the Nuffleween where, I mean, I played OWA. So
I know, but shouldn't we take a break first
yeah, of
and then come
course.
back?
Yep. Okay, we'll take a break. And it's time for the end of the show. It's the shoutouts.
Shout outs. No, you're not. You're not crazy. We said we were going to come back and talk about another tournament segment of Nuffleween, but here's where we're going to yank the curtain back, folks. And um, it's we recorded the first half of the podcast many days ago, and since then a
It's like
lot
2 days.
of activity has happened for Steve and myself, and we'll maybe explain more of that in the future, and we might not. So we're gonna jump right into shout outs. Um,
Life, man. We'll get to it though.
yeah, I will just say this. I have a family member who's suffering from some mental health, and we've got them to the proper place and facilities to hopefully help them. And that's really all I want to talk about it on here. But that's why we're not. We will
Yeah.
get to Nuffleween. I promise you. We'll do that in January.
And my stuff,
Um,
I will be more than happy to go into next time.
but there is a lot of private changes and things going on that sometimes as you guys know, sometimes we're just out of control of some things, and we're reminded of that by life. And
So if
these
you
are
are here because you think that we are your friends, and honestly, we are, then you're going to enjoy hearing us rant about life shortly and the good and the bad and, knowing what you're
right.
thankful for. But as of right now, we got other stuff to handle.
So yeah, so we're skipping that segment. I'm sorry about that. We will get to it in January. We plan on doing the Downey Awards in January as well, where we talk about the previous year's tournaments and
Hmm.
events and all the fun things that we've enjoyed. And I don't know. I have a theory that we're gonna, by the time the next podcast does come out, that we also might have information on like the next team and stuff, which
Hmm.
everybody lately, every time I get online, it seems like people are talking about how like vampires are for sure the next team and all this and
So
that.
I
So
mentioned the fact that we got something super secret that GW hasn't even told us about.
right,
And I don't know if Scott's had a chance to look at it. I'm guessing
I
not,
have not
which is fine,
with where
obviously.
life has gone.
However, there is a slight, very slight hint at vampires in there. So
Okay,
I'm just
well
going to put
don't
that
say
out there.
you're not supposed to be talking about it, bro.
Hey,
So like,
I'm not saying what it is, and again, like it
okay,
could just be me interpreting things differently, but
okay,
in my
all right.
head, that's what
You
it
said
is.
enough. Drop
Yep.
it. um, we also talked at the beginning when we, made the Christmas joke of tournaments past, present, future, and all that stuff. I'm in the process, and it was gonna start this week. The process of getting a NAF tournament um, approved and a rule set made up for hopefully what is going to be the beginning of February. I have a coworker who doesn't play Blood Bowl whatsoever, and actually he kind of teases me as a good coworker would, like teases me about my nerd stuff and
Hmm.
everything. But we get along great at work, so like he's like a work brother, like me and you teasing each other.
Of course.
And him and his wife for many, 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 many years tried to have a baby. Went to the doctor and see what if whatever could get worked out to help them, and they were blessed that they got to adopt a baby back in I think
So
it was
that
February.
they essentially was like, that's not going to happen. Let's go ahead and adopt a kid, and
Right.
they were able to
They
finally
had
get
an
one.
opportunity, so they had to like come up with a bunch of money and lawyers and all that stuff like really quick because it just kind of got dropped in their lap and they adopted. And it wasn't really, I don't even know if it was like a full 2 weeks after they adopted that they found out his wife was pregnant. So, um,
That's
you know,
that's rough. When you can, when you're planning on one, and adoption's not cheap. Like
right,
we're not
right.
going to get into politics, but if you think people can just adopt kids easy, it's not true.
So, this man, since they knew the baby was coming, has and still is working my job with me
Hmm.
during the day, and gets off at 3:30, and then at like 4:30, 5 o'clock every day from Monday through Friday, he goes in and works as a pizza delivery driver at Domino's to make extra money. And I guess at the Domino's that he works at, they give out like a free meal every night. So it helps actually with some groceries. He can take
Yeah.
some pasta home, he can take a pizza home or whatever. And frankly, as everybody knows, being a parent, if you've been a parent, you know how exhausting it is.
Hmm.
And working two jobs and being a parent is even more exhausting. So
To
I
two
told Steve,
newborns.
yeah, and I told Steve, I was like, we haven't had a Critter Bowl in a long time, which is usually the events held for some kind of gaming nerd to just like, we're gonna have awards, but they're all gonna be on certificates, and
Hmm.
then people are gonna pay, and we're gonna donate whatever money we get to the family because diapers, formula. I mean, I guess there's still formula shortages
I
out
don't
there
think so, but
because
I haven't had to look into it. So,
I know so because this week he's texted everybody he knew and said, "This is our formula. If you
oh
can find
geez,
some, buy it all up, buy as much as you can that you can afford, and we'll pay you back because we're this is I guess the certain kind that doesn't upset his kid and this and
yeah.
that." Anyways, he's working very hard, um, and I feel like maybe it's time to just throw a critter bowl for him in honor of him and his family, and we
Absolutely.
can do we can do some good and have a good excuse to play some Blood Bowl. So I haven't. Hopefully by the next podcast I can talk more about that. But that was the tournament of future. The date I was gonna try. I think Jason Campbell down in the Dallas area
Hmm.
is doing his Chainsaw Massacre event.
Which is
So I'm
also a charity
probably
event.
so I'm probably gonna shoot for like 2 to 3 weeks after that. Um, Again, there's been a lot of distractions on your end, and
Yeah.
this since we last recorded, there's been a lot of distractions on my end. So that's kind of just where we are with the status of
So
everything, and I
also,
just thought I'd let you know.
I haven't told Scott this, but most likely for that, like if we want to try to raise more money, we can make some baby related both down dice, like baby down or something,
Maybe so.
and
I
just
mean,
try to raise
I've
some money for him.
yeah, I've always wanted to make some crittable dice,
Yeah, we could
anyways,
do
like
that.
just some
Sure,
generic, like pink and generic blue or something like that.
that's a great idea.
But and that way they kind of be evergreen for
Hmm.
future events or hell even past events, like if you really needed them and you've
Yeah, because
donated in the past,
it
that'd be
doesn't need
cool.
to be, tied to the event because we do these on the super cheap so that we can raise as much money as
Yeah, I
possible.
mean, I know this is shout outs, but we can kind of turn this kind of into a, in case you are listening for the first time, or maybe this is your first year and you haven't heard of Critter Bowl. It started as like a man shower, a baby shower for guys, and other places, wanted to borrow it. I know Brian Mitchell ran one for his brother,
Mm-hmm.
and he took the general sense of the rules and modified it slightly. So there was, not every Critter Bowl has been ran in the state of Oklahoma. Not too long ago, Chris Ham ran one for Grant up in
Yeah.
Canada, our buddy Spoon, and so this thing has traveled around. And to be honest, I'm gonna have to kind of look up the numbers and see if this is like Critter Bowl 8 or Critter
We
Bowl
should
9.
we should let this go to the community and let people do it, and then, if they want, we can help with the awards because we do certificates. We can just do like a quick website, put up award
Now,
things, so they can
now
download. Who knows?
hold on there, buddy,
Okay.
because a lot of times I craft those, and I don't want to be making awards for everybody.
Well, no,
But
you make a
yes,
generic one that everyone can use.
I got you.
Yeah.
And the event basically is we play with different balls. Now I know GW over the years have made different balls that you can play with, all these things, but the rules that we kind of had were very simple,
Yeah.
and in some ways I feel like GW, I know they probably didn't look at our stuff, but at
No.
the same time there's a few connections where you go, did they? Because this just feels like something close to what we did before. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, so if you're looking for like Oklahoma Bowl, it's most likely gonna move to the summer because
I,
that's what Steve really wants, even though Scott's not so for sure on that. But
I
we're
had
gonna probably give it a shot. And
we haven't had a discussion. I had got a convincing argument not to move it yesterday.
oh really? I've been having people message me how that would work better for their families. So
Well, I've been
I don't.
told like people have been moving tournaments around because they expected it to be in March. Either way, we'll have to discuss it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, either way, it doesn't matter. We don't normally have an event in February, late
No.
January, but there will be a smaller ran tournament. I'm not really sold on using the World Cup rules, but at the same time,
For that?
I might be able to get strong armed into like using builds for World Cup for you people who are around the area that
Huh.
could come and practice. But we're still going to do silly balls, like the
Yeah.
Griffin ball that you get a +1 to pass, and the Nurgling ball, and the Baby Dragon egg,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So that will still happen. And I
Okay.
really don't know if I can do it NAF sanctioned, but I'm telling you, folks, if I can do it going forward, and teams of legends are going to go away from our tournaments, at least the ones I'm in control of. But
Yeah, I'm not
we'll
disagreeing.
save we'll save that discussion for another day.
Yep, exactly.
It is the holiday season, so I'm rambling and rambling because of probably all the
Yeah. Stress.
craziness in my life. But I wanted to tell everybody thank you for listening all this year. It's a holiday season. Try to get out there and enjoy your
Mm-hmm.
families and friends, or the friends that feel like your more like your family.
My
You
friends
guys
are
are always
closer than most of my family, so
exactly. And take those extra pictures. Who cares if you're stuffing pie in your face? Um,
yeah.
as Steve knows, we've lost a lot of people, and myself included, family members and friends and stuff. Of the
Like I probably mentioned this before, but like going through family photos when I was a kid, the year my mom passed away is the year that we no longer have photos of Christmas, like at all.
Wow,
You know, mom
that's
took photos
crazy
of everything, but then after that, I mean, we kind of just don't care. But you will at some point.
for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean that's the thing is like this year. I probably talked about in the past about how busy my Christmas day usually is because we go out to my grandmother's
Mm-hmm.
for Christmas breakfast, and she's not with us this year. And
Yeah.
because of COVID, I got robbed out of the last couple of years. And even last year we were set to all the family go out and Christmas carol
Mm-hmm.
for her so she could watch from her porch, but she got COVID and was immobile and stuff like that. So I feel a little robbed in some ways, but at the same time, blessed that we had the years. So I'm just reminding you, don't be grumpy, don't get mad. Christmas is not about the gifts; it's about the friends and family and
Yeah.
fellowship and hey, food. I mean,
Yeah. Don't I?
going out to going out to my aunts is one of my favorite Christmas things, and all we do is eat and hang out.
Like truthfully, I don't take for granted the food because Thanksgiving was a bust here. You know.
Well,
So I'm more than excited to partake in real food again.
well, I told you you're invited
I know.
if you want if you can make it out. So,
Yep.
anyways, do you have anything else to say, Steve? Any like
Um,
Christmas witches, maybe from GW? You want vampires to be next?
I do want vampires to be next. I want a box set of vampires and chaos dwarves and just knock it out. Do some high elves. Just do team of legend. Just get them all done. But realistically, no. I am hopeful for my future. We'll go into that more next episode. Um, we have some shout outs just real quick. Las Vegas Open is happening in the end of January. You can find that online, easy enough. Frontlinegaming.org is where you can go. There's now space for 140 people, so there's still plenty of
Wow,
room. Yeah, he got
wow,
some big donation from a Spanish company, and they're sending over the Spanish World Cup team.
nice.
It's weird. It's cool, but if you go, expect to get beat by Spanish people, and hopefully it's not the drunk guy who's going to flash you. Or hopefully it
Or
is.
if you like that, hopefully it is.
Um, Shout out to Callie, whatever his name is, for the STL for the Dungeon Bowl thing.
Correct.
Darren Pretty has sent in a couple of emails with some good suggestions on stuff. Um, it's innumerable the amount of people who contact us and wish us best wishes and keep track of our lives and everything. So like, trust us, during our rough times, you guys being there helps a ton, and hopefully we're the same.
Correct.
But yeah, I don't
And
want to string this out too much. I know we're both tired. We got stuff going on,
yeah, I'm
so
exhausted. So,
kind of up to you.
all right. Well, that's gonna wrap this up. Y'all have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and whatever it is to be politically correct there. Just enjoy your time. Love the people who love you, and just recognize, give them hugs, all
Don't
that stuff, even if they don't like them.
don't
Steve don't
take
like hugs,
anything.
but give him hugs.
No, I do. I've honestly, truthfully, you have helped me grow into accepting hugs because it
Aw,
was not a growing up. We didn't show a ton of emotion physically, and I've never been in a group of friends that did that. But with you and people you knew, and then just now do it for people I know at tournaments and stuff. So that does
I
help.
rem- I remember when our buddy Brian passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I was somewhere with Alan, and I don't know if it was at the funeral or before the funeral or after. And I said, "Are you okay?" And of course, he man said like, "Yeah, I'll be all right." And then either I offered him a hug, or if I just said, "Come here and give me a hug."
Yeah,
And after that was done, he said, "You're the only guy that's wanted to like give me a hug through this or something
yeah.
like that. So something to that effect." And
People are raised
it's
differently.
I know they are.
The
And
human contact is a big deal, and you don't think about it.
right. And I don't know, we're getting off on a tangent here,
Yeah,
but
whatever.
I remember my father, I've probably said it a million times on here, how my father grew up without ever hearing his father say he loved him, even though
Mm-hmm.
he knew by his actions he did. And I give sometimes my dad's an old white guy, but also he did what he could to change that and made sure
Yeah,
we knew that he loved us. And I try to do that with my kids all the time. And sometimes they hear me and they know it, and sometimes they hear me and think I'm just blowing smoke up them. But
ultimately they
you know
always know it.
be
It doesn't matter.
be the change, folks. Be
Yeah,
the change.
like
And I hope everybody.
my dad, when he grew up, he was an only child, and his dad was a piece of shit, just like straight up.
Yeah.
So he joined the military as soon as he could and got out of there. Completely different person. Like you'd never realize the two were related.
Huh.
And even when I took care of Grandpa the last year and a half of his life, just an utter horrible person.
Yeah, I remember you telling me stories about that. So let's not end on that note.
Yeah, but that being said, there's more goodness in life than there is badness. It may take a
For
while for you to find it, but put yourself first. Make sure you're protected.
for sure.
And if you
So
need help, reach out. We are random people on the internet, but trust us, people have reached out. And we've reached out to people when we needed it too. So it's a community.
It takes a village, folks. All of us need it. So,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, everybody have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Be safe, because I'm really tired of going to funerals. So everybody be safe and
Yep.
responsible. And if you're gonna get stinking drunk, just do that at home on New Year's Eve instead of driving around. So,
And
anyways, we
not to end on a sour note, if you are experiencing any mental health issues, please do reach out to someone.
for sure,
Family, us, anyone, does not matter.
for sure.
And just like you said, make sure you're protected and safe. But
All
we
right,
will be
guys.
back, and whole interesting chapter of the future will be coming up shortly.
We love you all.
Scott
We'll
does at
see
least.
you in 2023.
Jeez, we're getting old. Okay, see you guys.
You can follow Both Down on Twitter at Both Down. You can follow Scott at
Real Scott Prime.
and Steve at Kilowog2814. If you'd like to email them, the email address is bothdownpodcasts@gmail.com. Or for more information, you can visit them at bothdown.com or at facebook.com/bothdown.
I think it's kind of hot to be wearing these scarves in here.
Well, the scarves are must. You can't go caroling without a scarf. Catch your death.
Man, you were like one of those kids I remember in high school that used to sell the most candy bars for the marching band.
Yeah, and
you
you'd
know?
be president of the swing choir, too.
Definitely.
Thanks, Joe Robinson. Thanks, Tom Servo.
What a kiss up this guy.
Okay, now, if you'll all look at your sheet music, we can rehearse my new song.
You wrote a Christmas song?
Hey, there's no tradition like a new tradition.
Wait a minute, let's have a Patrick Swayze Christmas?
Yeah, based on my favorite movie, Roadhouse.
Come on, what the heck does Patrick Swayze have to do with Christmas?
Hey, you keep Christmas in your way and let me keep it in mine, okay?
Come on, sir. It seems like a nice enough sentiment. We can give it a shot. Come on.
All right, okay. 12/8 time, key of A flat major.
Oh, good.
Cambot, shoot him the tune. Okay, you'll just have to stay with me, everybody, okay? Your parts are written out. Let's have a Patrick Swayze Christmas by Crow T. Robot.
Paul, let's have a Patrick Swayze Christmas.
Right. Hit it, Cambot.
Oh, I start. I get it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, pick it up. Open up your heart and let the Patrick Swayze Christmas in.
We'll gather at the roadhouse with our next of kin.
Not bad.
And Santa can be our regular Saturday night thing. We'll decorate a bar stool and gather round and sing.
Oh, let's have a Patrick Swayze Christmas this year.
Or we'll tear your throat out and kick you in the ear.
Hold it a second. Cambot, stop it. Crow, I don't know if I think this is an appropriate sentiment anymore for Christmas.
Hey, what, like a good action sequence don't belong at Christmas?
Well, no, it's just that I've never heard of an action sequence in a Christmas Carol before.
Well, then grab hold of your socks and read on, Joe Robinson.
Okay, pick it up from measure 20, Cambot. Lovely intro, though. Very tasteful.
Thank you.
I like that. It's my way or the highway this Christmas at my bar.
I'll have to smash your kneecaps if you bastards touch my car.
I got the word that Santa has been stealing from the till.
I think that right jolly old elf better make out his will. Oh, let's have a Patrick Swayze Christmas one and all. And this can be the haziest. Ooh, this can be the laziest. This can be the Swayziest Christmas of them all. La, 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 la.
How long before it becomes a standard?
I think you got to come with me. Come on.
We'll be right back. Save a leg for me.